Hey everyone, my name is Claudia and I'm an incoming senior at a specialized high school for the arts, and welcome to part two of my Spotlight series. So the purpose of this series is to encourage my peers to pursue their desired fine or performing art beyond high school, and we'll be covering writing, acting, instrumental music, dance, musical theater, vocal arts, and production and design. So for today's dance podcast, I'd like to welcome our second guest, Maudie Brown.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Maudie Sexton Brown was born and raised in Winnetka, Illinois, where she began her dance training at the age of 9. In 2017, Maudie graduated from the University of Wisconsin-Madison with a Bachelor of Science degree in dance. During her time in Madison, Maudie danced in works by guest artists Tina Sposs, Jamie McHugh, and Rosalind Newman, as well as UW-Madison dance faculty Kate Corby, Chris Walker, and Jingwon Yu. In addition, she was a member of Hypnotic Dance Crew for 4 years, UW's original hip-hop crew. After graduation, Maudie attended American Dance Festival, where she studied intensively with Paul Madison, Nia Love, and Andrea Weber. Since then, she's moved to New York City to pursue dance professionally. She's recently completed Broadway Dance Center's 6-month training program with a concentration in street styles and continues to train at BDC, especially under choreographers Chio Yamada and Neil Schwartz. This summer, Maudie will attend the world-renowned Build a Beast Dance Intensive in LA. That's so exciting.
I'm so excited for it.
Oh. Why don't you start with describing a little bit about your profession and what you're doing right now?
So I would say what I'm doing right now is constantly working on my training. I haven't stopped being a dance student just because I graduated college or completed this program at Broadway Dance Center. The program required me to take 12 classes a week, and even though it's over, I still take between 12 and 15 classes each week. Right now, I'm working towards getting signed by an agency because then having an agent is just goals. That's just they can help you find auditions and we'll send you on auditions. So right now I'm working towards that. And I'm also choreographing some smaller music videos for artists, but definitely getting paid to choreograph more than dance currently.
So it sounds like you have a super busy schedule right now. So I guess I kind of want to know, from college into your life now, how was that transition?
It's interesting because I can build my own schedule now. In college, you're on this semester kind of schedule where you're seeing the same teachers 2 or 3 times a week and University of Wisconsin-Madison's dance department is pretty small. So I would have the same teachers for ballet a couple of years in a row or for a few semesters. And I was having the same teachers. So I was getting the same opinions back. And now I can take from of various, very different styles, very different teachers, people who all have amazing things to say, and I can't get enough of all of their feedback. And I guess the other thing is that in college I was much more of a contemporary ballet dancer, and now I'm breaking into the commercial dance world, especially with the Broadway Dance Center training program.
Especially in the commercial dance industry, I know that being a well-rounded dancer is super important. So can you maybe share some experiences about how that's benefited you, and not just having one certain style that you're super strong in, but learning so many different styles?
Yeah, definitely. I had a teacher in college that was he taught contemporary, but it was very Afro-Caribbean contemporary, and we also had to take various forms of African dance at school, and all both of those classes really helped me. It's a different kind of rhythm thing, and it's just a different kind of weight change that I wasn't getting in ballet or in modern, that I now have under my belt, and I can pull out at auditions if they ask for it. I started dancing from being in like children's community theater for like musical theater. So even that from when I was little, like I don't really do that much like theater dance classes now, but actually I was at like a workshop a couple weeks ago where there was one portion, like an agent was scouting again, and there was one portion of the workshop that was street jazz, which is like more my strength, and then the second half was theater dance. And like I wasn't completely lost because I could still pull that from like what I've done in the past. And yeah, and just like from school, I got a Bachelor of Science in dance, which is really specific to University of Wisconsin's degree. So it's a very like body oriented degree, and like I had to take anatomy with the med students. So like just knowing my muscles and where they are on my body and what they do in terms of like flexion, extension, rotation, I know how my body is working.
So with your degree and sort of your curriculum at University of Wisconsin, it sounds like you kind of value both academics and dance. So was there a way, like maybe some advice you can share, just like your own like dealing with that of how you sort of balance both of those?
You can do both. I have so many. I personally didn't do a double major, but every other dance major in the department was a double major in like psych or like even like math and business and econ. And you really can do both. And I think it's really helpful to also just for me, like committing myself to dance. I had to explore the other side of things a little bit. So I actually went into college as a bio major, and then I was a psych and dance major, and then I just decided to just pursue the dance degree. And I had to explore that other side of things just to make sure that it's not what I wanted to do before I like fully committed myself.
So did you not really have that mindset that you wanted to be a professional dancer?
I didn't actually. That would almost be my biggest advice to people your age who are dancing right now is I saw so many of my friends just like give it up. They were kind of like, oh, I'm 18, I'm going to college. Like maybe I'll join an extracurricular dance thing at school, which is great. Like I also saw a lot of people continue dancing from that while pursuing a different degree. But I also saw so many people give it up. And I was like, just because they were like, dancing is risky and it's like it's like frivolous and I don't think I could make it. And that's especially at 18, you guys, okay, not to like speak, I'm not that like I'm 5 years older than you only, but still even at 18 I like didn't really believe in myself that I could do it. And then I got to University of Wisconsin, took a ballet class, and then one of my professors was like, you should audition for the major. And I did it, and then I got in it, and I was just like sucked in. And I was like, I couldn't like the fact that I thought that I could just give up dancing like after high school is just like so crazy to me now because it's my everything now.
Yeah. No, but I think that's like really great advice just because so many people now also feel like they should stick to one thing and be consistent with it. And if it's not dance, then it's just something else. And a lot of people sort of close off their art because they're afraid of like what it implies for the future. Because yeah, it is a little bit more difficult to find, like a steady, stable life within art, but it's all about like working hard for it. And, like life has so many turns and so does your education. I also was curious about, you're in New York now, you're auditioning and you're doing like you're choreographing. It's so busy, but how do you, I guess, balance that with your mental health? Because obviously I feel like a lot of dancers too are also stressed about what their futures will be like when they're like so caught up in the storm of auditioning and all that.
I journal a lot. I journal every night. Which is I think is really just a good way to like get your thoughts out on paper. I've like gained some pretty incredible mentors since being here that I can call like whenever, and that those came through like I did an amazing program called Creating Opportunities, and it like was for 4 weeks, and I got like set up in like a really small group of people, like group of 8 dancers, and we just got to talk about like the other side of dance, that was like that mental side, that like, and like your resume and like what it takes to make it in the industry. And that was like a really incredible, reassuring thing. And like seeing my mentor from that is constantly encouraging me to keep pushing. Eating, like, it sounds so silly, but like eating healthy, uh like not taking any shortcuts, just like getting enough sleep, eating healthy, like getting all my thoughts out on paper before I go to bed. And I'm lucky that I have like a really strong support system at home. So my parents have come and visited a couple times, but even just calling my sisters, like, and my brothers, like really refreshing. Um, and calling family and just like being reminded that you're loved, even if you get rejected from an audition.
Knowing that you moved, you moved to New York and you're just there, and it's sort of a different environment, I guess. How was that for you? I guess getting used to it and getting over some fears, I guess.
And it's really something that like when I just got here, I just tried to like utilize any connection that I had, like a sorority sister that I hadn't talked to in like 3 years. I went to dinner with a dance major that was a few years older than me. Like, and then my old sorority sister's boyfriend was actually like a photographer, and then he did my headshots. And everybody knows what it's like to move here and to not really know anybody. So, and even like I just had a girl a year younger than me move here, and now I'm setting her up with stuff. So it just like, it all like trickles down.
Yeah, no, I definitely like how you emphasized the network and the connections you already have. Like, never be afraid to reach out to people. Maybe they're old friends, maybe they're new, but yeah, I feel like since like this is all about supporting each other, the best way that you can find a way to adjust and adapt to your new surroundings is just to reach out to the people close to you. Going back to how you switch majors, I know that you've been dancing since a young age. So, and I know that sort of implies that you had a strong support system. But when you were sort of already deciding that, I guess I'm just going to do dance now too, how did your maybe family or friends sort of react to that?
Now my parents are really supportive now that I'm in New York, and like kind of like they've seen me perform a couple times, and they've seen like videos of me dancing, and I'm like producing a lot more stuff to like give them evidence that I'll be fine or that I'm doing okay. And I think being financially stable is like really important to them. So if you can prove to your parents that you're financially stable as a dancer, then I think that's a really good box to check.
And I think what I'd like my viewers to take away from that is it's never impossible to like pursue what you kind of want to do, despite like maybe your family isn't the most supportive of it either. It's just it does take a lot of planning. It does take a lot of commitment because you don't want to end up like doing something you regret, obviously. So just like be able to experience everything, and that'll help solidify your decision to wake you up to like, is this really what you want to do?
The dance major at University of Wisconsin is based in the School of Education. So it's also focused on like creating dance educators just as much as it is like training you to be a dancer. But like I went to American Dance Festival, and like I went with a friend, and she got a scholarship from University of Wisconsin to go there. Also, just working with like guest choreographers at school was really cool, because it's not like, obviously my professors are so cool, but like to have somebody come in who was just in New York choreographing something on a company, it just like, they hold you to a certain standard that sometimes like you can get away with things with your professors, but like with them, you're like, you really want to like be like play the part of like a professional dancer, even if you haven't graduated yet. And then also those are great like people to know once you graduate too. Yeah.
How did you sort of learn about the whole dance landscape and like start breaking into that as a profession?
It definitely started at school. I got a lot of advice from my professors, make friends in your classes. Like if you take a class and you notice that somebody else is constantly taking that class and you see them all the time, it's not weird to like become friends with them. And doing the like BDC program, I made a lot of friends. The dance world is like a lot smaller than I imagined it to be before, because it seems like really daunting.
No, yeah. And I think, yeah, it's not just like family and friends that you should reach out to. It's definitely like maybe your professors or teachers or, mentors or choreographers. Like you never know who will have the time and the enthusiasm to just sit down and talk and like share their own life advice. And it's such a treasure and like such a gift to be able to connect with people in that way and also learn from their experiences.
Yeah, especially the people who are like 5 or like 10 years ahead of you are like, I feel like the people who I've gotten super valuable advice from.
Exactly, because they've also like lived your life. They also know like what you've been through, and they've been through like sort of beyond that too, maybe that they can just like give you a little hint about so you can prepare for that.
Right, totally.
I want to know sort of about like the audition process. I know like there's a lot of like general advice from that, but I guess for you, how did you feel about at first maybe auditioning within like a whole like maybe bunch of people who are like like also equally talented and you're sort of like competing for a role?
It's nerve-wracking, but it's very much just as much a technique as ballet technique or anything. The more that you do it, the better you're going to get at it. So you just have to push yourself to go to as many as possible, because you're not going to get better by avoiding going to them, or there's nothing that you can really do. Like you can become a better dancer in a classroom, but like you're not going to become a better auditioner in a classroom, in like in a dance class. You really have to like go and put yourself out there, and also um like know your worth. Like I heard from the my cousin's friend who dances for the Knicks. She told me, and like, which is dancing for the Knicks is like a huge accomplishment. That's like goals. But and she's even telling me when we met for coffee that like she went to so many auditions and like truly believed that she was the best one in the room, and was so confused when she would get cut. And she's like, it happens to everybody. You never know what they're looking for. It could be that you have the wrong hair color, or you're too short or too tall, or like you don't look good with the girl that they really really want. Like there's so many factors that like don't have to do with how good of a dancer that you are, that like you have to keep in mind, and kind of helps soften the blow of what if you get rejected. But uh, I think just like clearly loving what you're doing while you're in an audition and just enjoying the process for what it is will show. Um, and if you're like having a good time with it, that'll show, which I'm still working on. Nerves are a huge thing to get over, but it's like it's all in your head. And they like, you have to know that the auditioners like want you to do well. They want you to be the person that they're looking for. They're not like looking for things to be wrong with you. They're like hoping that you do well.
Yeah, definitely. And like I also heard, this is sort of like a paraphrase of something I've heard from another dancer who's always said like never settle for anything less than butterflies. It's just like you will probably always experience like the butterflies, the nerves at every audition, but it's like you're still going to be prepared. And like the more experience you build up, the more maybe like it'll be more easier for you eventually, and it'll just be like you'll know the whole system and the flow of it. Do you have sort of like a dream goal within the dance industry that you're aiming for?
Yes, I would love to go on tour with an artist as like a backup dancer. That is goals right now, or that's like lifetime goals. Current goal is get signed by an agent.
Do you have any advice for any aspiring dancers or maybe some students who are just like, like, do I really want to do dance in the future?
my advice would be for them to believe in themselves, like that they should just do it, and like set yourself up for success, and just like I think I like exploring other things is not a bad thing. I had to do it before I fully committed myself to dance, but like don't do something because you think you can't. Or I remember being 18 and was like, oh, I'm too old to like become a professional dancer now. Like, even though I had been dancing since I was 9, like I thought that I was just like going to be nothing compared to people who had been like training. There's always going to be somebody who's better than you. And like, that's not a reason to not go after it. But that yes, my advice is that they should do it.
Great. Well, that's all the questions I think I have. But
Okay.
yeah, just thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule. I know you have like an audition with like very soon. So yeah, I wish you the best of luck at your audition. I know you're gonna kill it.
Thank you so much.
I think you're badass. Pretty cool.
Thank you. Oh my gosh, I love this podcast. I think this is such an amazing thing. I wish I had it when I was in high school. And so
Yeah, well,
awesome.
I'll definitely like send you the link once it's all put together. But yeah, I
Okay.
mean, just, like, thank you so much for being here.